Marcus, you've had a lot of things. You've accomplished a lot of things in your career. Have you ever been had your likeness made into a bobblehead before?
Well, not at USC, so I'm happy about that.
Have you seen it yet? Have you met your alter ego?
Yes, I've seen I've seen the bobblehead, and I think my mother would approve.
That's what's most important.
Marcus, let's talk about the game a little bit. I mean, you haven't been involved in games like this, but, put on your head coach, your Clay Helton hat. What is your message to the team this week? How much do you dwell on the past? How much do you move towards the future? If you were Clay Helton, how do you approach this situation?
Well, frankly, I'm much rather play a team like Alabama to know exactly where we are, as opposed to playing an opponent that that you're supposed to beat, and then have the illusion that you're much better. I think we know exactly where we are. I think I saw some really, really good things, and I saw obviously some bad things. And you'd like to build on those good things. I think defensively, everyone was surprised at how well they played I think the first quarter and a half. I think even Alabama, was shocked by how well SC played. The defensive front that was supposed to be the weak link, actually, I thought they played pretty well. You take away the touchdown pass, the first one, I think obviously it was an excellent play on Alabama's part. And frankly, I didn't even know the rules. I thought once he was out of bounds, the player was not eligible to come back into play and make the reception.
That's the NFL rule. Yes,
that's the NFL rule, and it was a good play on his part, but they got on the scoreboard on that particular play, and I thought it was actually played well by both players, but the Alabama player finished the play. So we'll learn something there. Obviously, I think then there was the interception, and I think the fumble that really there were three plays that really hurt us in the first half.
Yep. And
then at the end, I think going into the second half, and then giving up I guess it was a blown assignment. I thought there were 10 players because I really didn't see the play, but I was told that I guess the corner and safety went in for the blitz, and we didn't have anybody to cover the receiver, and consequently, he went on down the field and scored, and I think we sort of imploded at that point. But if we kept the game close. Now on the opposite side of the ball, I think it was troubling because we didn't move the ball after the first drive. You just kind of wondered, were we going to try anything, or do we have another package to go to? And in that regard, I was disappointed because there's a lot of things that you can do. I think, we talked about maybe, either because they had two sort of undersized defensive ends, and putting in tight ends to sort of neutralize them and to see what Alabama would do after that. But we never did anything really different. I think they determined early on that they could that we couldn't block them, and so I think we knew we couldn't block them. So everything that we did pass-wise was a three-step drop, and then their secondary, they didn't buy anything deep, and they sort of just squatted and jumped everything in front of us and stuff. So it was tough, but it all began up front because we couldn't run the ball. I mean, we just could not physically do what was necessary to beat them up front. And I think everybody talks about execution. There's no execution when you can't block up front.
You're listening to Marcus Allen. Sorry, go ahead.
No, make no mistake about it, guys. I mean, you talk to me, you talk to JJ, and I got a lot of glory, because I scored a lot of touchdowns. But the most important people on the field are the O-line. And if they don't do their job, I don't care who you have in the backfield. I don't care who you have at quarterback. I don't care who your wide receivers are. It really doesn't make a difference.
You're listening to Marcus Allen on Trojans Live, and you serve as a mentor now. You're a great Trojan who's always around the program. But back when in your playing days, how would you handle it inside that locker room as a player, as I'm sure somebody that everyone looked to as a leader? You know, what do you expect out of the USC leaders on this team right now? We're going to talk to one soon here, a captain, and Michael Hutchings.
Well, it's not over. Clearly, you expect great disappointment, and if guys aren't disappointed, you would kindly ask them to perhaps leave the team, because you don't want people like that. You want to be crushed. It has to hurt. That way, I know that you care, and if you really, really care, you're going to do what's necessary next time out to make sure that never ever happens again. They still have the entire season ahead of them. Again, I guess the number one goal is to win the Pac-12. They can still do that. But it was clearly a wake-up call on, I think, a lot of people's parts.
For sure.
And really sort of looking at how good we really are, or how much work we really need to do. I think there's some self-evaluation that needs to go on. I think players have to look at themselves. Coaches have to look at themselves. Everybody has to look at themselves.
Marcus, at the end of the day, where does this, how far back does it set this team? I mean, a lot of people say, can they, I don't know the right word is respond, or how they respond. A loss like this, is it something you can actually put behind you, or is it something that sort of stays with you for weeks?
Well, I think you can put it behind you, and you have to. I mean, it's really no other option. You have to. If you want to still be able to reach your goal, you have to put it behind you. There's no other, there's nothing else that you can do. You have to forget about this. You have to have a short memory. Yet remember all the negative things that happened, so they won't ever happen again. As you approach this week's opponent, I mean, it's clear, because Utah State will not have any mercy on us.
Right.
They think already I've heard a few of their players talk, reading articles, that they think they can exploit some of our weaknesses. So they're ready to seize an opportunity to beat, SC. And so you can't afford to feel sorry for yourself. You can't afford to overthink what happened. You got to, put it behind you. And what you have to do is go and say, guys, I'm going to go to work. I'm going to take care of my business. I'm going to be accountable. I'm going to be responsible. I'm going to make sure that what happened in Alabama, or against Alabama rather, will never happen again. That's what you have to do.